What's up everyone, Darcblade here with another guide to Monster Hunter Rise. In this video, we'll be covering a pre-Sunbreak build, this time for the light bowgun. Now, what is a pre-Sunbreak build? Well, it's an endgame Monster Hunter Rise build that we can use at the start of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak to take on the early Master Rank monsters. Of course, as you get Master Rank gear and armor, you'll replace this build quite easily, but for the most part, these builds are aimed to give you the best possible head start. Now, before we get into the video, a reminder that if you enjoy these builds, please consider leaving a like on the video, as well as subscribing to the channel, as we always try to bring you a variety of builds that cater to a wide variety of playstyles. When it comes to the light bowgun, and heavy bowgun in some respect, the builds can be dictated by what ammunition type you want to specialise in. Whilst you can go for a general build, focusing on multiple ammo types, sometimes if you want efficient DPS and damage output, you need to focus on one specific ammo type. And in the case of this pre-Sunbreak build, we're going to be focusing on slicing ammo, specifically for the light bowgun, rapid fire slicing ammo. This gives us a ton of damage output, but unfortunately the light bowgun is a dual heavy and skill heavy weapon, so it doesn't leave much room for quality of life and defensive skills. But nonetheless, this slicing build will definitely be able to bring down monsters fast, and so long as you keep your distance from a monster, your survivability should be assured. So for this slicing build, you'll need the Vike Helm S, the Vike Mail S, Giratotus Van Braces, Anjanath Coil S, and the Ingot Greaves S. I'm also using an absolute petalace, although the petalace, as I always say, is down to personal preference. And when it comes to the charm, unfortunately no one will have the exact same charms. I'm using here a charm that has weakness exploit level 2 attached to it, as well as 1 point in slugger, although this is a byproduct, so it's not needed on this build. And it has a tier 3 decoration slot and a tier 1 decoration slot. To be honest, when it comes to this build, you'll definitely want that tier 3 decoration slot on this talisman. I would say that is the most important aspect. The weakness exploit, on the other hand, can be mixed and matched, intertwined with the decorations. So, for example, I'm using thrift decorations, which gives us the spare shot skill, so you could use a talisman with spare shot on it instead, and use tenderizer jewels in place of those thrift jewels. Anyway, as for the weapon, I'm using the Despot's Wildfire, which is the Zenoga light bowgun that has an attack boost rampage skill attached to it. We're primarily using this as it seems to be the most effective weapon at the moment that has rapid fire slicing ammo attached to it. Now, when it comes to the decorations, first of all you'll need at least one tenderizer jewel to max out weakness exploit. You'll then need thrift jewels to max out spare shot, absorber jewels to max out recoil down, salvo jewels, which are one of the most important jewels, to max out rapid fire up, a critical jewel for at least a point in crit boost, quick load jewels to max out reload speed, and then a brace jewel for a point in flinch free. So if you've done what I've done here, you'll have a build with 242 raw attack with 20% base affinity, which can be 70% when you take into account weakness exploit, and you'll have a decent defense of 453 that is strong against fire, water, and neutral against dragon, but unfortunately weak to thunder and ice. As for the switch skills, as always I say these are down to personal preference. And then when it comes to your skills, you have attack boost at level 4, increasing the raw attack of a build, and at level 4 or above it also gives us a percentage raw attack bonus. You'll then have weakness exploit at level 3, increasing our affinity whenever we're attacking monster weak points. Weakness exploit at level 3 can provide us up to 50% bonus affinity. You'll then have spare shot at level 3, giving us a 20% chance that when we pull the trigger of our weapon, it won't consume a bullet, helping when it comes to our ammo supply and reducing the amount of times we potentially need to reload. You'll then have reload speed at level 3, increasing how quickly we can reload the bowgun. You'll then have recoil down at level 3, reducing the recoil of the weapon. These are kind of both needed, so we can effectively and quickly use the rapid fire slicing ammo without losing too much control of our character. You'll then have rapid fire up at level 3, increasing the damage of rapid fire ammunition. You'll then have critical eye at level 2, increasing the base affinity of a build. Next up is ammo up, which is a skill that increases how much ammo we have in a clip. We've only gone to level 2 as level 4 doesn't increase the slicing ammo anymore with this light bowgun build. You'll then have critical boost at level 1, increasing the damage of our critical hits, but this only applies to the raw portion of an attack. It would have been nice to get this higher, but unfortunately we ran out of space. You'll then have Slugger at level 1, which is a byproduct of the talisman we're using. It's not really needed on this build whatsoever, but it allows us to knock out monsters more easily. And then finally you'll have Flinch Free at level 1. That prevents minor knockbacks from monsters as well as our fellow hunters. So there we have it, that is the rapid fire slicing build I would use for the light bowgun. It's unfortunate at the moment that the bowguns are so skill heavy. They require a lot of skills, reload speed, recoil down, spare shots and more to make them work effectively. But nonetheless, even without having maxed out critical boost and other damage related skills, this is still a very high damage build. But every build out there has its pros and cons. No build is absolutely perfect. When it comes to this slicing light bowgun build, its biggest pro is its damage output. It has massive amounts of damage output, especially if spare shot procs often, allowing you to deal constant amount of damage to a monster, especially if you're accurate with your shots. The next pro, which is more of a pro for the light bowgun as a whole, is that you're able to keep your distance from monsters. This is the prime way the light bowgun is able to keep itself alive. And the final pro is that this build can be used against any monster in the game. It focuses on raw attack, so we don't have to worry about monsters' elemental or element resistances, which is one of the key things I wanted to achieve with these pre-Sunbreak builds, so we can take on any monster we come across at the start of Master Rank. But unfortunately there are some major cons for this build. The biggest major con is ammo supply. Slicing ammo is an ammunition type we can burn through exceedingly quickly. I would highly recommend bringing the raw materials so you're able to craft slicing ammo whilst you're fighting a monster at the same time, but even with this, and even with spare shot proccing, there'll be times where you need to go back to camp after almost every encounter to restock. And the other con for this build is unfortunately it does lack quality of life and defensive skills. It does have some quality of life skills like spare shots, but for the most part this build is suffering when it comes to those aspects. The lack of defensive skills is only kind of countered thanks to being able to keep our distance from a monster as well as our wire bugs for mobility. But regardless of the cons, this build is able to bring down monsters exceedingly fast, and it could be considered one of the highest damage dealing builds in the game, making it the light bowgun build I'd recommend for players to take into the start of Master Rank. But what are your thoughts? Please leave a comment down below, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a pre-Sunbreak build for the light bowgun in Monster Hunter Rise. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.